Hey everybody, welcome to the Ken and Dante show. I don't know if we've had a show up in a while. It might have been might have been a minute since we got one up there, but we wanted to kind of say hello. Ken is settling into New York,
New York
and we're
City.
gonna get an update. New York City, the Big Apple. Ken, how you doing?
Doing good, Dante. How about yourself?
No complaints. I can't complain. Life is beautiful. It is what you make of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what you make of it.
What you make it? Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you walk out and you can't find beauty in the world, maybe it's on you. Not Can't blame the world. Plenty of
That's a good
beauty out
point.
there. How's it going in NYC exclamation point?
I'm getting tired very fast. Oh, I refuse to look up, 'cause I don't want to lose.
Going well. Now the one thing is, where you live. It's like you were just saying, like where you live is as much as where you're living. It's also a state of mind. And so I think New Yorkers kind of have
As
a
Billy Joel would say. Yeah,
as oh
I'm in New
well.
York State of
yeah.
I'm also saying
He
like
might
no
even write a
matter
song about it.
I'm saying no matter where you live, it's not just people in New York City, it's a state of mind. I'm saying
Oh,
wherever you live, it's a state of mind. And the one thing New Yorkers
yeah,
have is they bring it to their state of mind. They say, I'm in New York City, man. I got this
yeah,
nailed. They bring it to
yeah.
it. But we all have that ability. We can
Well,
be wherever we are. We can all bring that state of mind wherever we are.
you're right. Now, being in New York, the thing about living in New York, you're in the greatest city in the world, or maybe as good as any city in the world. There's no city greater than New York. You can't go, well, Tokyo's a little better,
London,
Paris is a
London,
little better, London is a
Paris,
little better. They can be equal.
Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro can be equal, can't be better. I mean, New York is on that short list of greatest cities in the world, you know. Now, is my dad a New Yorker? Was he born in the Bronx? And was I brainwashed as a kid? Yes.
I think that
But
answer is yes.
but after the brainwashing wore off, I came around and I'm like, yeah, New York,
But Burlington,
it's
Vermont,
amazing.
like they're neck and neck. Like New York City, Burlington, Vermont, it's hard to tell to
Well,
really distinguish the two.
okay, you spent 24 hours in Burlington, Vermont. Can you make a case Burlington, Vermont is as good as New York City? Can you make a case? Can you spin it if
Um,
you wanted to?
well,
Is
actually, I
it
can.
spin it?
Because here's the thing. So the one thing people don't often like come to grips with is we spend a lot of time in our houses, in our apartments, in our condos.
Yeah.
That's where we spend a lot
Yeah.
of time. It's in the condo
Yeah.
and in the workplace. Now, a lot of the workplace now is in the home. So
Yeah.
so the one thing is, no matter where you are, the majority of your time is workplace, home. And the home, you can go to Home Depot
It's
and
where
buy
the
a
heart is, Ken. It's where the heart is.
it's where the heart is, and you can go to what's that place online? Wayfair. You can go to Wayfair. You can go to Home Depot. You can go to
Mm-hmm.
Target. You can make your home
Yep.
whatever you want it to be. You can be New York City, London, Paris, for Burlington, Vermont. You can make your home whatever you want it to be for not a
Yeah.
lot of money because that's what Target's there for.
Yeah.
So a lot of your existence is in your abode. So you can be in North Dakota. You can be in Oaxaca, Mexico. You can
South
be
Dakota.
in you can be in South Dakota. You can even be in Arkansas.
Could be anywhere. You're right. It's what you make of it.
A lot of our environment, it's not even the outside environment, it's the inside environment. So you try to make that as nice as you can. Now, when you step out that front door, now that's where it comes into play. And
Now we're talking.
is Burlington, Vermont less appealing than New York City? I can
you
make an
tell
argument.
me.
I can make an argument that it is as appealing as New York City.
How would you make that argument, Ken?
Uh,
Can you?
Well, sure. So I drove across the country a couple times now, and as we've talked about cities, I've mentioned a couple things about cities. It's the downtown, it's the parks, it's what's the other thing I've said? The downtown, the parks. That's all there is. It's downtown and the parks.
Open spaces or common spaces, the arts community. Does a river run through it?
Yeah, like that's still kind of water. Like, is there a water feature? So downtown, parks, and water. I know there's a fourth one. Like, if we go back to like maybe the second or third episode. What is that? Is that water? It looked like water. What are you drinking?
No, that's a beer. It's a Lagunitas. And I know you can't tell because it's in a glass, but I'm on an IPA kick.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned you're not a big fan of IPAs. You think too bitter?
Too bitter, absolutely.
Or what? Too bitter? Well, I mean it's for men, Ken. It's a man's drink, so not for you. But it's an acquired taste. If you drink them a little bit more, have you tried cultivating?
Of course. The thing is,
Too bitter, huh?
I'd rather have a bad beer than no beer at all. So I've had my share of IPAs.
Okay.
But they're just the worst beers. That's all. It's just like you've got an entire choice of beers. It's simply the worst ones you can get.
I know. I love them. I mean, part of it, yeah, they were bitter in the beginning. I thought, wow, it's kind of a bitter beer. And I wouldn't drink them because they were too strong. Like, I'd go out with friends and I'd be drinking IPAs, and it's like, holy shit. After 3, you'd feel it.
Well, that's what you want to have happen.
I know. But you'd feel it like in a heavy way. It's like a not a light, oh, I got a light buzz going. You get like, oh, I'm getting a little, and that's after 3. And then, like, you're going to drink a few more. So you don't want to be, like, there halfway.
How many are you going to have, Dante?
Right?
How many drinks are you having?
You want to get there at the end.
No, I want to feel it after 3. I want to feel it after 3. And if I need to slow down, I can slow down. But I want to feel it after 3.
Yeah, but I like drinking throughout the night. I don't want to stop drinking. I like to get there and then keep it going. Like, but
well,
anyway,
then maybe you should have a
I
light
love the
beer.
taste. Well, light beers. I mean, come on. I'm not there yet. But with IPAs, what you want to do, if you're going to have 2 beers, perfect. Have 2 IPAs. If you know you're going to be out all night drinking with friends, don't drink IPAs. Drink Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I can drink, like drinking water. I could drink those all night long.
Well, I've fixed
All night long.
I've fixed my IPA issue because I like the strongness of the IPAs. Don't like the flavor of the IPAs. So hard kombucha.
Oh. What the heck is that?
So,
What the heck
well,
is
you know what kombucha is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard. Kombucha, may have had one time in my life. Can you describe what it tastes like?
I mean, it's fermented. So think about kombucha as
Ferment, a little sour. It's got a little
well,
sour
not sour.
taste
It's
to it.
it has an edge to it.
Not sweet.
It's not sweet.
Yeah,
It's not sour.
sweet.
There's an edge. I'd say a tang.
Got it.
But it's not a sour.
Got a
It's not a
tang.
sour thing. Because I don't like there's a new
You don't like IPAs, but you like that shit?
No, absolutely. Because
Are
here's the
you
thing. I also
kidding
don't
me?
like the sour beers. There's a
Oh
new
my
trend of sour
God,
beers. Sour beers suck. I mean,
Can
bitter
you-
or sour. How is this a thing? We don't want bitter. We don't want sour. We want flavorful. Now kombucha is kind of like sauerkraut.
Good
How do you
flavor.
describe sauerkraut?
Okay, sauerkraut. Put it up. I mean, it's sour.
No,
Go
sauerkraut's
ahead,
not
put
sour.
it up. It's called sauerkraut.
That's just an ornery German.
It's in the name of the food. June
June
shine.
shine. Oh, now what's funny is they
hard
actually put the
kombucha.
that they write it upside down, hard kombucha, and they write it upside down just because they're that cool. I don't know why they're that cool.
Very cool. That's a very cool move on their
Yeah.
part. Very cool. Anybody. Now, it reminded me of something. Reading the label. I read labels more now because I'm more conscious of what I eat and drink and everything. I'm trying not to eat processed foods or rarely or minimize it. But so I read labels, and I was even reading the label on my water.
There shouldn't be much on there.
Yeah, there's stuff on there. One, there's I think I might go grab it in a minute, but at Crystal Geyser, it used to have a handle.
Right.
It no longer has a handle, so you have to kind of carry it. And they have a disclaimer. We're sorry that we took away the handle. They don't really tell you why, but I imagine for environmental reasons. So
Yeah.
if it's for environmental reasons, of course I'm all for it.
Although the
But
entire gallon is encased in plastic, so it's better
yeah.
than it might be, but still not great.
Oh, but that's probably recyclable.
No, plastic,
Yeah.
that's a fallacy. People think plastic, there's this,
No,
there's this
no.
entire
You're right,
thing
Ken. You're right,
of
yeah.
plastic.
You're
Like
right.
every piece of plastic has this little symbol on it. Oh, we can recycle plastic. No. At one point, China used to recycle something, and they stopped taking our plastic. Nobody recycles plastic. It's a sham.
I think you're right. I looked it up. We had this talk earlier. I'm like, I think Ken's exaggerating. You were not. We need to do a pod on plastic.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a crime.
It's horrific.
It's horrific. We don't recycle it, and the answer is no. They're ending up in landfills.
Or worse, in the
And-
ocean. They're landing up in rivers
In the
and going
ocean.
out to the oceans.
The amount of solid plastic waste produced since the 1950s that has not been burned or recycled is around 4.9 billion tonnes. This could all have been dumped into a 70-metre deep landfill the size of Manhattan. While much of it has indeed ended up in landfill around the world, far too much of it has found its way into the natural environment, with around 10 million tonnes a year ending up in the ocean. Over half of all plastic is used just once and then thrown away, taking hundreds of years to decompose. Apart from the perception that plastic waste is ugly and unnatural, it has also been known to harm marine animals, and exposed to salt water and sunlight, it can fragment into microplastics, which some people fear can poison sea life and humans who subsequently consume it.
And it's
Yeah.
the plastic in the oceans. Like you hear about it and you go, oh yeah, I hear about the straws, and oh yeah, it's a shame.
Well-
no, it's a horrible event that is choking the natural world. It's like, you know how they say don't put a plastic bag over your head. That's what we're doing to the ocean. We're literally doing that to the ocean. Well,
Yeah.
we're figuratively doing that to the ocean.
Yeah. And no, we're literally doing that to the ocean.
Well,
That's the problem.
yeah, the ocean doesn't have a
And-
head though, but figuratively.
And but we're literally putting it over the head of turtles.
We're choking it.
There are turtles swimming around in the ocean with a bag over their head.
Right.
And it's tied up and they can't get rid of
Right.
it. Literally.
Literally.
But okay, the Ken and Dante show is getting environmental, people, whether you like it or
That's
not.
right.
Everyone knows recycling is pretty easy.
So I throw the bottle into the blue bin.
To a blue bin.
In the recycling bin,
They throw it into some kind of truck.
all sorted, nice and neat.
It goes to a separate place.
To a plastic recycling plant.
to a factory,
And then I imagine that there's some large machine that just squishes everything together.
Everything then is melted down. It's somehow melted. From there, it can be reshaped into sheets of plastic. Like a park bench.
You hear about sneakers being turned into basketball court.
And that turns into new things.
Recycling.
turns out that's not the whole truth, especially for plastic. This is actually propaganda we've been spoon-fed since we were kids in commercial after commercial.
People start pollution. People can stop it.
Who's behind a lot of this messaging? The industry that produces plastic and the retailers who sell it to us. And it makes perfect sense that they'd want to trick us into thinking we can use as much plastic as we want, so long as we recycle. Why not pass the responsibility for a big corporate mess onto individuals like you and me? But here's the big secret. Entire categories of papers and plastics are rarely recycled. Of 7 types of plastic that people put into blue bins, 5 whole categories hardly ever get recycled at all. According to the EPA, in 2017, as little as 8.4% of our discarded plastic went through that magic recycling process. What happened to the rest? You probably guessed it. Minus the plastic that ends up in the ocean. To make it worse, we used to export 1/3 of our recycling, a whopping 20 million tons a year, and pay countries like China to deal with it for us. That game's over. China's basically told us no more, followed by the Philippines and Malaysia. This recycling shutout has caused hundreds of American municipalities to cut down or totally cancel their recycling programs. You might be thinking, if so little is actually getting recycled, why does everything we buy seem to have that symbol on it? Great question. But we've been made to feel that as long as we put our plastic in the blue bin, we've done our part, and that's just not true. The best thing we can really do is start buying as if nothing gets recycled. Because that's pretty much what's going on.
But anyway, back to...
Are we getting back to kombucha or getting back to Lagunitas?
Well,
getting back to the cities? What are we getting back to?
I feel either Lagunitas or this kombucha drink should have a commercial. Yeah, maybe we do 2 for 1. We do a which one do you like better? We do a kombucha.
Is that a
and Lagunitas commercial. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
But is that like doing
like, you know,
is that like doing a McDonald's and a Burger King commercial?
We're doing a together. Like nobody does that.
Nobody does
Talk
that.
about cutting edge.
Nobody does that.
2 very different products being promoted at the same time.
All right. Well, Ken and Dante show is cutting edge. I appreciate that.
Proven by this commercial coming up. 3. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Sometimes you gotta choose. You gotta choose. You might not win. You might just lose. But you gotta try to touch the sky.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, what do you think of that commercial?
That was incredible.
You didn't think it was going to go in the direction it went, did you?
I was shocked.
You kind of like, you thought it was going to be more traditional, but then it went off in a weird direction.
See, even after we talked about it, I still thought it was going to be about one of the 2. I thought we were just going to hone in on one, and yet it was about both.
Yep. Sometimes you gotta choose. You gotta choose. You might not win. You might just lose, but you gotta try to touch the sky. You might fall short. You might just fail. Oh well. And sometimes you might not win, and you might not lose.
Valiant performance from Manchester United. They've ended Liverpool's perfect start to the season. A 1-1 draw. It's finished United 1, Liverpool 1.